Hey, it's Scott. Just wanted to say it's a beautiful day. Working here in the garden, finished the lawn, took 2 or 3 hours, but got a chance to come in the garden. It was supposed to rain this afternoon, and that never materialized. We got bright sunshine here, and it's actually been a pretty beautiful day. But as I'm going through the garden, I'm looking at the potatoes, and well, they're looking a little weak right now. I see some dead leaves there and some yellowing leaves, and that means it's getting ready for them to be picked. And it looks like the Russian fingerling potatoes have kind of died back earlier than the Yukon Gold potatoes. They're still fairly resilient right now. Here's one row. You can see the yellowing of the potatoes. In the next row, they've fallen into the wood chip aisle between rows, and you can see there's a bunch of potatoes here. There's about 6 or 8 feet of potatoes. I've probably picked about 5 feet of potatoes thus far, and you can see I've got a good bucket of them, and that's about 1/3 of a 5-gallon bucket. And I've been picking them by hand, digging through the soil and sifting through them. But I'll show you how they come up here. I'm just going to reach down and grab this branch. You can see it's fairly yellow, and it's one of the volunteer potato plants that came up early. And so we'll just give it a little yank here and shake off the roots. And hey, look at that. Look at that. So those look like the red potatoes. The little red potatoes. So it's a little treasure hunt there. Look at that size. I got a big hand, so they're a small. Here's a medium-sized potato, but those look like they're in great shape. And I'll tell you what, I probably only left one in the soil last year, and so I've got at least a dozen here that I can put in the pot. Actually, I'll probably storm down cellar until they're ready to go. But that's one plant, and I've got rows and rows and rows here. So I got 100 feet of potatoes at least, maybe a little bit more than that. So we've got a lot of good potato picking to go through yet in the season. So there we are. That's one plant's worth, and my foot's at 12.5, if that helps you at all. So for a size comparison. But that's pretty good for one volunteer plant I didn't even plan on putting in the ground. So love it when that happens. And the fact that it's one of the red Bliss potatoes is a nice surprise, because I only planted the Russian fingerling potatoes and the Yukon Golds this past year. So that's a real nice surprise. Well, now I found a few more red Bliss potatoes, as you can see over there. And so that's kind of a surprise to me. I haven't planted red Bliss since last year, and again, this is the volunteer row, so they've had a bit of a head start. So they're small potatoes in general. Here's some. They're fairly small, but I'm going to give the other potatoes another week or so, or maybe a little more, until they really die back before I start picking them. And that'll give them a chance to really see through to their potential. I like picking potatoes by hand. It's like a little kid. It's kind of a treasure hunt. You pick through, and you never know what you're going to find. Could be a good year, could be a bad year. So as I reach through, I can feel where the potatoes are, and it's not as quick as with a pitchfork, but when you make that little contact, you can tell exactly where that little potato is. So even the teeny tiny ones, you can just feel the difference. So I'm pretty much through this patch right here. Potatoes are really one of the easiest vegetables to grow. You just stick a potato in the ground in a trench, leave the dirt up on the side of it. In a few weeks, there's going to be a plant after you cover it up a little bit. When it grows, pile on the rest of the dirt from the trench that's up on either side. It makes it very easy. I just trench out 2 trenches parallel to each other, about 25 feet long in each 30-inch row that I have, and then drop the potatoes in, cover them up a little, water them thoroughly. And later on, once they've grown a little bit, I throw that dirt that's still outside the trench, throw that and fill in the trench completely on each one of them. And I basically don't have to do anything after that. And so, very easy to grow. I was planting potatoes many years ago when my wife was a third grade teacher, and I was planting with all the kids, and their moms were here, and they were coming to see Farmer Scott, and they were going to help me with my garden. So I made a trench for them, and I told them, just take a little potato and drop it in, and then we're going to use a potato stick, which was a painter's stick for stirring paint. And on it I wrote potato stick. So I said, then you take the potato stick and you lay it down, and at the end you put the next potato, and then that will tell you how far to set the potatoes. And for third graders it seemed to work like a charm. And then at the end I said, okay, everybody bury your potato, and the kids had a ball. So I entered their vegetables that year in a local fair and won a bunch of ribbons with the vegetables, and brought them to the school for them, or my wife did, as she's the school teacher. And it was a fun time for the kids. But gardening is certainly for kids of all ages, and like I said, it's like Christmas here when I'm digging potatoes with my fingers and trying to find just one more potato and to come up with something. And it's just part of the enjoyment of gardening. When I was a kid in Ireland, I had potatoes, I think, almost every meal. And when I came back to the States, and now I'm an adult, I can grow as many kinds of potatoes as I like. What a country, huh? It's fantastic. I love potatoes. I love meat with potatoes. It just sounds like peas and carrots, doesn't it? Meat and potatoes. I love the sound of that. And I'm going to work here gardening potatoes every season for the rest of my life, as long as I can. And I'll be working on the meat aspect of that too, as I get along on my homesteading journey. So hopefully you can all stick around for that. This is Scott at the XFed Homestead. Appreciate you watching. Please like and subscribe. I'll see you next time.